Hey everyone, happy birthday Hive, by the way. So my name is Chris, it's actually Krzysztof, but everyone calls me Chris. I'm going to talk a little bit today about UberEATS. I don't know how many of you guys actually used it yet, but I'll ask that in a second. So first of all, I've been working for Uber for approximately more than 3 years right now. Joined the Polish team when it was super small. Actually, the office was probably like a third of that whole room, with just three people there. I was doing marketing for Poland, then I switched to a regional role doing marketing for Central and Eastern Europe. And actually, this is a funny coincidence, but literally exactly a year ago, so on the 5th of December last year, I started working officially on UberEATS as the general manager for Poland. So it's actually, it's been a pretty crazy year. I'm going to talk today about UberEATS in Poland, what it is actually, its global expansion, what happened over the last 2 years since the current format of UberEATS actually scaled rapidly across the world. And also about the technology behind it, right? Because I guess this is a tech event, so you guys might be interested about the things that we're doing to make it work on our side. So first of all, a quick introduction into Uber itself. Maybe a quick survey first. How many of you guys actually used Uber? Wow. All right, tech event. How about UberEATS? Okay, nice. All right, okay. We launched here just 2 months ago, so I'm excited. Cool. So Uber launched in San Francisco more than 7 years ago. Right now, 7 years later, we're in more than 600 cities across the world, 70 countries and 6 continents. So quite insane how quickly it grew. Overall, cumulatively, we did more than 5 billion rides across the world, and more than 1.5 million drivers work with us every week, almost every day, to basically facilitate rides on the platform. We launched in Poland 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. First city, of course, was Warsaw, and then we gradually launched new agglomerations in metropolitan areas in Poland. So right now we're actually in 7 metropolitan areas, covering more than half of Poland's urban population. That means that basically more than half of urban population in Poland has access to Uber in less than 10 minutes, which is, for us, it's quite insane. Earlier this year, we celebrated 1 million riders, active riders in Poland, but we still see continuous 20% month-on-month growth, so we're quite excited about that as well. And what we realized at some point is that, and the question we started asking ourselves quite regularly was, how much do we know about those cities, right? So how much do we know about cities that we operate in? And we realized that basically the cities that we operate in have very little secrets when it comes to transportation, when it comes to understanding how these cities operate, and how does even the traffic work. So the question that we tend to ask, or even the CEO and a lot of people within the company used to ask us was, if you have such a massive logistics infrastructure that you can provide a car that takes a rider that can pick up a rider and take him within a city from A to B in less than 5 minutes, what else can you deliver? What else can you transport? What else can you do with that infrastructure, right? And actually, it's kind of interesting how Uber became the lifestyle a part of urban lifestyle. The fact that a lot of young people kind of got so used to it that they use it on a daily basis. Even a couple of months ago, we had a situation where one of our really angry users sent us a message on social media, block letters, capital letters, and the message was, "Your app sucks. I waited for an Uber for 7 minutes instead of 5. Right? So the thing is, 3 years ago, it was impossible to get a car in less than 15 minutes. And you couldn't even use an app. You had to call a cab or something. So, and actually even earlier today, I had a chat with my best friend who was actually sitting over there. We were on a plane together. He asked me, you know what, I ordered an Uber Select a couple of days ago, and I waited for it for 12 minutes. What happened? So, you kind of get used to the fact that transportation is almost as reliable as running water, right? And if you have an infrastructure like that, you can start answering other questions and experimenting with other services. For us, the first test of something other than, let's say, facilitating transportation between riders and drivers was a marketing stunt that we did back in 2015. It was Uber Donuts, or maybe you guys can remember that as Uber Pączki. So that was basically for Fat Thursday, which is a festive holiday for those of you who are not from Poland and don't know that tradition, where people basically stuff themselves with donuts, right, on Fat Thursday. So what we did, we basically facilitated and we enabled the users in Poland to order donuts on demand through the Uber app. what happened was that people did not have to wait in queues. We were able to facilitate those deliveries, those orders within less than 5 minutes. And it was actually our first moment when we personally here in Poland, we realized that there is something more to Uber than just, let's say, facilitating riders and drivers and connecting them together. So at the same time, in other markets across the world, just a bit of context about Uber. We get a lot of autonomy locally to experiment and to innovate and do a lot of, I would say, exciting tests and pilots. So at the same time, we didn't even know about it in 2015, but in 2014, the Los Angeles team launched something that they called Uber Fresh, which basically, these were pre-made lunch meal kits that were placed in the trunk of the car. And you could order them and have them delivered in less than 10 minutes. So that was the first, what we tend to consider as the first iteration of Uber Eats. It's called Uber Fresh. In 2015, they actually rebranded it into UberEATS Instant. And the model was basically the same. They were just pre-made meal kits that were just driven around the city. I actually ordered one in September in 2015 in Chicago, and it was quite incredible. Basically, the order was already downstairs in the lobby of the building where I worked. Before I got downstairs to the lobby, so it was quite incredible. Now, in December 2015, and another coincidence, on the 7th of December, almost 2 years ago, the first iteration of the current model, which is the Uber Eats marketplace that I'm going to talk about in a second, was launched in Toronto, right? And once we realized that this is the model that we want to pursue, this is the model we want to scale, in 2016 and 2017, we basically just scaled that across the world. So what is Uber Eats? Uber Eats, I'll compare that to the rides model, just to simplify a few things. So Uber, the standard platform, connects two types of users, right? Connects riders and drivers and enables the riders to take rides from facilitated by the drivers. So Uber Eats is a three-way marketplace. It connects three types of users. It connects the consumers, so users that basically order the food, the couriers that facilitate the deliveries, and the restaurants that generate additional income through the platform. And it's actually quite exciting for us because the eaters have a unique user experience, which means they don't have to have cash. They can pay with a credit card that is linked, that is on file on their accounts. They can track I'm going to talk about the features in a moment actually, but the restaurants can generate an incremental income without occupying the restaurant itself, right? So they can basically, they cook the food in the kitchens and then they just give it to the couriers that facilitate provide the delivery service. And then basically the delivery partners, they generate incremental income or additional income by working on that platform. And the fact is that because the delivery partners are not associated with an individual restaurant, but they always pick up the orders from the nearest restaurant, the nearest request. That means that they can pick up the food much faster, they can deliver it much faster, and also they can generate and have more business through the platform than a standard courier working for one restaurant. So how does it work? I guess most of you guys actually used it. So, but I think I need to click through this no, okay. Okay, so this is a GIF that actually doesn't seem like it works. Anyway, so the way it works, you use the standard login details you use for your Uber account. Of course, you need to download the Uber Eats app, which is a separate one. You log in with the same details. You use the same credit card that is on file already. You type in the address where you want to have your food delivered, and then you start selecting the food that you'd like to have. The interface is fairly straightforward. It's based on photographies from the actual restaurants that are available on the platform. And then, of course, you just customize the order, press the request button. What happens next? You just track the order in the app. So that's what it is. And now, a few pointers on the global context of Uber Eats, where we are today, almost 2 years after launch. 6 continents, of course, 30 countries, more than 30 countries. And actually, just last week, we launched our 200th city. That was Lisbon in Portugal. Really amazing launch, actually. And right now, the average delivery time is 35 minutes. I don't know how many of you guys actually order food online and what is the standard waiting time, but I guess 35 minutes on average seems to be quite an improvement, not just in Poland, but across the world. Now, on average, 20 minutes of that time is dedicated for meal preparation, and on average, the delivery takes approximately 15 minutes. Right now, we have more than 80,000 restaurants on the platform globally, and actually I'm actually proud to say it, but we're actually the biggest facilitator of McDonald's delivery across the world right now. We work with McDonald's to deliver food from McDonald's across the whole world. We actually have it live in Poland. I don't know if you guys know, but 2 weeks ago we also launched this partnership here in Poznań, so you can now order McDonald's on delivery in Poznań. I think 8 restaurants right now. So we're actually quite excited about that. Numbers about Poland. We launched here in February this year in Warsaw, and our second city on the roadmap was from the get-go. It was always Poznań. So if you see the difference, or if you followed our history a little bit on the rides business, we chose a different path than the rides business. That means we launched on the right side. We launched Warsaw, Krakow, then Tri-City, which means Gdańsk, Gdynia, and Sopot, and then on the same day, I think it was November 2015, we launched Poznań and Wrocław on the same day. Now, on Eats, we launched Warsaw, and then we went immediately into Poznań, because we feel that this is a really amazing city where there's a lot of potential to grow and scale, and actually the city is, it feels to us that we know that the city is booming. So right now we have 750 restaurants on the platform. 100 of those are Poznań restaurants, and this is just the beginning. So now to talk a little bit about the technology behind UberEATS, right? So I'll show you a few features that we feel are important to scaling the product. Why? Because first of all, we believe that before you start marketing a product, the product needs to kind of work, right? Like it's as simple as that. We always try to make sure that the product goes first before everything else. So a lot of those features, or some of those features that you will see here, you might recognize from other services that you probably know, like Spotify or Netflix, right? So what we're doing here is basically we're using machine learning to surface recommendations. That means that at some point you will see, like, if two people sitting here, 2 users of UberEATS are going to open the app, they're going to see 2 different set of recommendations in the app itself. Why? Because your tastes are different. If I tend to order Asian food or burgers, when I go to a new city and open UberEATS, the app recommends me the most popular Asian and American restaurants that are available on the platform. Similar to Netflix shows you might like, right? Or Spotify Discover Weekly, which I actually love. Another, something that seems very simple and very straightforward, but people tend to forget about it, right? So restaurant filters. If I see in Warsaw, if there are areas where I see 150, 200 restaurants available on the platform, how on earth can I choose what I want right now at this moment? So use filters. And there are a few things that we prioritize over others in terms of like filtering the restaurants. And first of all, it's speed. A lot of people are in a rush. We're continuously busy. We don't want to wait too long for the food, right? So we want to make sure that we enable users to choose to select restaurants based on average delivery time. That means how long it takes a restaurant to prepare that food and how long it will take delivery partners to deliver that food later on. So the other point is the price point, right? Some people want to order a low-cost meal. On other dates or at other times you want to go for something a little bit more high-end. You can also do that in the app. And some people are just vegetarian or vegan and just want to choose food based on their dietary requirements and constraints. So this is something that felt really, really important to us. Now, another point about the user experience itself is the drop-off customization, right? So as I mentioned, the most important part and the first thing that you do after you log into Uber or to UberEATS is you choose the location where you want to have your food delivered, because based on that you see a set of restaurants that are available in that area. So what you also can do, first of all, you can specify very accurately where that food should be delivered. That means which floor, which building, if you want to give it the security code for your building, anything else. But also, if you work in a building like our offices, like where our office is, you can't, the delivery partners or any couriers, they cannot go upstairs, which means that I can also specify, I can also let the courier know that he doesn't have to look for a parking spot. I can just go downstairs and pick up the food outside, which from our perspective, it also makes our platform much more efficient, which means that the additional 3 to 5 minutes that every courier is going to use or going to maybe waste to find a parking spot, get out of the car, find the right address, and go over there, he can spend basically accepting new orders and delivering them. So at a scale of thousands and thousands of orders, this is something that allows us to squeeze out more and more efficiency out of the system. Now, something that we were actually surprised that UberEATS users love in Poland is being able to track your order. We heard that people tend to be very frustrated with the fact that they previously did not know what happened with their orders, that they waited for food and had to call a restaurant or tried to call the courier, what was happening, they didn't know. So people got kind of used to the fact that when they use Uber, the rides product, that they can follow the car. They know exactly when the car is going to arrive, that they can contact the driver. So basically, we did exactly the same thing for UberEATS. That means as soon as your food is delivered, first of all, you can follow the status of how quickly, or what's the status of your order. But as soon as it's picked up by a courier, you also get a call button, so you can contact them instantly if there's any confusion or any misunderstanding about where exactly about where you are. And now something that again we were quite surprised that this is going to be a thing, just because we haven't thought of that use case locally here, but apparently others did. Was the scheduled orders functionality. That means a particular use case that was interesting for us here in Poland was actually the Fat Thursday 2017. So 2 weeks after we launched UberEATS, we did the Fat Thursday stunt again, but now on UberEATS. So we kind of we've gone kind of the full circle. And by doing that, we informed the users in Poland that they can schedule orders 7 days ahead of time. That means, I guess a lot of you guys, if you work in Poland, you know that Fat Thursday also at work is a big thing. Almost every office manager buys a lot of donuts. They are always available in the office for most of the people, and this is kind of a tradition. So what happened? We actually saw massive orders coming in days in advance, days before Fat Thursday. So people were ordering like 400 or 600 donuts in one UberEATS order 3 days before the actual holiday. What we realized is that, okay, a lot of the office managers and people who are actually responsible for running offices across Warsaw, they basically are saving themselves a lot of time by not waiting in queues in pastry shops trying to pick up those donuts. That was actually something that we were quite proud of and quite excited about. And now, going full circle, I don't know if you guys tried it yet, but I actually love this feature. Whilst you're riding in an Uber, you can open up the Uber Rides app, and you can start ordering food on UberEATS from that app. This is basically fully integrated. What that means is you're also not going to see. There's a small difference between the user experience. That in the UberEATS app, you would usually see how long it takes to prepare food from start to finish. But in the Rides app, what you see is how fast after you arrive at the location, the food's going to arrive. So for instance, if I order my food whilst I'm on the way to my flat, basically I'm going to see that my food is going to arrive 10 minutes after I arrive there, for instance, which is actually quite exciting for us as well. Cool. Guys, one more thing. I'm happy to take questions. One more thing. Some of you did not use Uber yet. Sorry, UberEATS, Uber probably as well. So we have a special promo code for people who never used UberEATS before. Basically, if you enter Hive61 in the app, you're going to get unlimited free delivery until the end of December. So enjoy, guys. Nice.